ladies and gents. You know what time it is. Fortunately and unfortunately, this is the end for the Mob Wives. The final season, season 6. Technically, this is episode 11. And it's just titled Mob Wives. And this episode, it was special because of the fact that it focused on something that we weren't really aware of. The details. The edited out details as far as why there was really issues with the ladies. And, the fact that all of it was absolutely real and it wasn't brought up by dramatics. And it actually looked like production stepped in a lot of time to try to calm the ladies. So that was also a very interesting take on this whole situation. So everyone shows up to this hotel or this building in order to get prepped and ready. And while they're there, they're actually watching the season. Well, the seasons. So, seasons 1 through 6. Everything that has happened that us, the viewers, have seen. And then they're also mixing in, at the same time, footage that was never seen. So that's the unseen footage, the edited out footage. And it was really interesting because Drita essentially quit a whole bunch of times. I mean, Drita's quit a whole bunch of times. Drita has said a lot about Karen and her family and her situation. That has been edited out. Whatever we've saw, please, it's gotten much worse. And as we figured, because it's always one of those things where it's like, damn, I wonder how they really feel or how else they feel. It's like, you know, if they're this animated during the scene, that it can't just stop there if it's real. And it didn't. I mean, they threatened security a bunch of times. They threatened the producers. They threatened to quit the show. It got real. And it got real fast. And, you know, it's Renee, Carla, and Karen in the hotel in the same place, in the same area. And it's interesting because Renee's just like, damn, I was never that bad, was I? And they were like, yeah, you did kind of get that bad, that angry. And I was like, really? Did I? It's like, yeah, she did. And so it was just interesting to see how Drita blames Karen for a lot. It almost seems like anything negative that happened on the show after a certain point, after they had their falling out, Drita blamed Karen for. Because remember, when they first came on the show, Drita and Karen were good. They were friends. They were like childhood friends, almost. And the issue was that Lee was Karen's boyfriend first. Lee ended up marrying Drita, and so there was that divide because there was never really a mutual respect and boundary set in place between the two. So they always had this thing of, oh, Drita thinks that Karen is going after Lee. One, still wants Lee. Two, she's disrespecting him. And that's her husband, so she's going to do whatever she can to make sure that that doesn't happen. And Karen was just talking about on the unseen footage how Drita was just obsessed with her and obsessed with this situation that occurred. And it's just really sad. It's really sad because you realize that the show, all the show really did was bring the emotions that they had and the animosity that they had towards each other to light. And it put it on a global scale. Because now, it's not just Staten Island. It's everyone all over the world who has access to the show, who's seen the show, has an opinion, is voicing their opinion, and also possibly creating more misinformation. But it's crazy because when Drita gets mad, I feel like Drita probably drank a lot more in the show than we saw. Not as far as having an issue, but just meaning because Drita forgot a lot of the stuff that she said in anger. When she was really pissed, she would go off, as we are accustomed to, but she doesn't remember it, and I think that's really genuine. It's not a situation where, oh, she's trying to fake the funk. She generally doesn't remember. So Karen and Renee are ready and they're leaving because they're going to show up at the location first. And Drita, again, is still doing her usual. She's threatening security. She's like, if you touch me, you're dead. If security gets in my way, they're being bodied. I'm not playing around with you guys. And Drita can't handle the truth in the sense that it's like, look, I don't want to hear it because I don't feel like it's true, and they're not even here in front of me to voice their opinion. So I'm not going to take it seriously. And my whole thing is, Drita, just because they're not here to voice their opinions doesn't mean that you can't allow yourself to listen to what they're saying, because if someone tells you about themselves or tells you about how they feel about you, believe them. Believe them. There is a sliver of truth in everything. In this case, a lot of it. And so Renee and Karen were talking about how the show actually got started. What I didn't know, and I'm sure a lot of you didn't know, was that the show started because Renee's sister brought them together and was like, I have this idea for this show. You know, the whole concept was for all these single women taking care of their families and kind of taking the reins of their families, going and creating this opportunity to make money and also to show, have a platform for women empowerment. Did that end up like that? No. The show was actually called Sizzle, or The Sizzle, and it was really just, it almost gave you like a kitchen table talk type of borderline cookie cutter, like the Housewife franchise when it first started. And when I say the first started, I mean the first episode of the first season of each series, before the women really had issues with each other. And it was actually all the way back in 2009. Yeah. And everyone got along, but when the show got picked up, they changed the format, and it was like, no, this is actually going to be called Mob Wives. That was strike one. That was strike one, because of the fact that now everyone in their past was like, what? We can't talk to you. We can't associate with you. What the hell are you doing? Because, you know, the mob mentality is, what mob? There is no mob. So that alone made huge waves and caused a lot of issues. Now, aside from that, you also had the thing of, it was interesting because Drita was saying how, guys, it's really good because I'm going to go on the show and I'm going to be positive and I'm not going to curse and I'm not going to fight. And it's like, Drita, what happened? And you almost forget that Renee and Karen had an issue with each other. Well, actually, it was really Renee. Renee had the issue of Karen had this, her father was, of course, is Sammy the Bull, and that he ratted out his constituents, and as a result, he became labeled as one of the biggest rats in mob history. And so Renee didn't want to get associated with that. So she had this huge issue with Karen. I forgot all about that. I really did. And this is interesting to see how different all the ladies look. And I'm like, Renee does look better, because it's like you can tell she's less stressed. Well, maybe not at this very moment, but just overall less stressed. She's getting her mind right, her body right. Karen looked similar, but Karen looks a little bit more mature. Her face is a little bit fuller. But again, aside from that, and you know, her body looks great. Yeah. What was it saying? Oh, yeah. So aside from that, they still worked out their differences, because Renee never had an issue with Karen herself. So as long as that wasn't the case, they were good. Now, you get this foolishness where the next person who comes in is the one, the only Carla. Remember, Carla came in and was also like, yeah, this was supposed to be an opportunity for all of us to make money because all of our guys were in jail. We had to take care of our families. And the reality of the situation is that that wasn't our reality. Actually, the next person who came in, I'm sorry, was, who was it? Was Big Ange. Big Ange came in, and they needed someone who was just a positive, fun-going peacemaker type. And that's what Big Ange was, and is. And she's, of course, immortalized on tape, so she'll be around forever. And so, again, rest in peace to Big Ange, and condolences to her family. Big Ange looked good. I mean, it's crazy because that was 2 weeks prior to her death, but I haven't seen her look that good in a long time, because you know she's been stressed out and she's been sick. So she just looked, to me, she looked great. And I love the short hair, and I was like, damn, come on. But they also showed a clip of Drita, who was having... Drita was talking about how she was done with the show. I mean, like I said, Drita has tried to quit the show multiple umpteenth times, and she's over. She's like, look, I'm gonna go because I can't deal with it. At one point, they actually had a simulcast of what's currently going on in the warehouse where they were filming the reunion, the same warehouse where Big Ange originally brought them, and Karen was just going off on Drita, about Drita, and Drita couldn't take it. She's like, I need to get there, and I need to get there now, because now she's talking about my husband, now she's talking about my family, I'm through, I'm done with it, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I said, afterwards, Carla came onto the scene, and Carla, she probably had the least to contribute at this point in time. It was just more so, you know, we all had our issues, but it was crazy because people thought that this wasn't real life, but it was real life. And remember, in season 1, they had one of the biggest mob busts in history, and it involved Renee's husband, and he got pinched, Junior. Now, Junior, in season 2, ratted out Renee's father. Yo, that is why the show was lit, because it was like, holy crap, they actually captured all this stuff on TV. On TV. I was like, wait a minute, this can't be life right now. It is. It was theirs, and it was messed up. But I just feel bad, actually. I feel bad because Big Ange, you know, she wasn't feeling well, and so she had to go. She might have had a doctor's appointment or something. But they made sure to at least get her out of that negative physical, that situation, because they knew that something was going to pop off. So it wasn't safe for her health-wise and all of that. Now, all the ladies, again, throughout this whole time, it kind of felt like, if any of you watch the next 15, you'll understand what I'm saying, because the next 15 is literally set up where you see production, you see all the production values, them setting up, them staging the scenes, everything, and then filming, and you actually see the cast, the production crew around them. So it was interesting to get that viewpoint and to see how much stop and go production had to do with these ladies. Like, stay on task, because that's the thing. As far as what they're personally saying, that's their choice. That's whatever they want to say, whatever they want to disclose, whatever, however they feel, that's the truth. But as far as what was being said with, well, how they were reacting, that was also them. The only difference is production does come in and say, look, this is what we're supposed to be talking about because we're trying to create this storyline, because this is what you said you wanted to talk about. So let's stop faking the funk. So Drito's like, I'm done with this. I'm going to fight all of you if you don't get out of my way and just bring me to that location. Drita pops up. Everyone pops up wearing furs. Drita pops up wearing this winter coat, and because she wasn't playing any games. Drita looked great, but she wasn't playing any games. She busts through that door, runs, and then we thought that she hit Carla too. No, she was swinging for Karen, but Carla was right next to Karen, and so that's why Carla went face first into the table. Because when Drita mushed Karen, Carla also got mushed. And, you know, Drita and Karen are just arguing. It's like, F you, I hate you, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to do all this. And Carla's like, what is wrong with you guys? Stop it. And Renee was just like, I don't understand what the problem is. Why can't you just speak to each other? You go on one side, you go on the other. You yell, scream, curse, say whatever you need to say, but then let it go. And they end up sequestering Karen for a moment to let Drita talk. And what they did was, this was where another truth came out. Drita did talk-ish about, not talk-ish directly about, what's her name? Carla. But she was essentially like, why are you guys sending me up? This is some BS, yada yada, meow meow meow. And it was crazy to see and crazy to think that this was life, this was reality, this was messed up. This was really messed up. I mean, who thinks that it was okay for Drita to go into the other room, talk to the production, and say, why the hell is she here, essentially? And Drita doesn't remember it. And Karen doesn't, it's just like, is this chick for real? Is this chick for real? And so then that's when they have to talk to them. And it's like, Drita, you don't remember it. But you actually were like, I don't want to be on the show with this chick. Why is she back? Because remember, Karen left for a season or so. Was it just one season? I think it was one season. And then when she came back, Drita wasn't a fan. And we actually found out that Drita actually said that, oh, I can't be on the show with this woman and all this stuff because of her father. And it was like, wait a minute, Smurf? Now you sound like how Renee did season 1? Like, what's going on? What's really going on? It was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And Drita didn't remember it. And I'm like, wait a minute. So when Drita gets angry, the Incredible Hulk comes out, She-Hulk comes out, and her memory disappears when she calms down? Is that how it works? Because it was too much. And I liked Drita for so long. And I still do. I just wish that she owned up to, it's like, you know what, maybe I did say that, but she's so adamant about, oh no, that didn't happen, until the very end. And that's where she gets points, because she was finally like, you know what, I have something with these women, so the least I can do is just listen to them. And they had Karen finally come out, and Karen and Drita finally hashed out what they needed to hash out. It was like, Drita was like, you talk about my family, you talk about my husband, you brought the men into this, and that's where I really had the issue with you. It was like, I never brought the men into this, and she was right. Karen never brought the men into this. If anything, Lee bashed Karen before Karen bashed Lee. I mean, really. But that's not what she was talking about. What she was referring to is the whole thing with Ozzy and Lee talking, but of course they didn't talk because both two convicted felons legally could break parole and all that. So you had Marissa and Brittany finally come in. They came in, and just to essentially clear things up, Marissa was like, look, I did not say that Karen said that. I said some people around Staten Island. Karen was not one of them. She absolutely didn't say it, and it was like, all right. And so they also talked about how it was like, you realize your feelings toward Karen could have drove you to make that assumption that she would have been the one to say that when that wasn't the reality. And Drita accepted that. I was like, Drita, you accepted that? I was like, damn, that place must have been cold, because the women all put their coats on when they finally calmed down, except for Carla. She was like, look, I'm in my element. I'm here for this. My blood is boiling because she's still doing too much. But Brittany comes in, and of course she's sitting next to, what's her name? To Drita. And Brittany's just like, look, I came to the situation, and Renee, I have the issue with you because you judged me just like how you judged Karen originally, because of the fact that my father did what he did, and so you put that mark on me. And Renee was like, I can't help feeling how I feel, and I'm not justifying it. I am not justifying it. That's just life right now. That's just my reality. Okay? It was like, whatever. Marissa, wherever we had, it really wasn't that deep. And I'm like, okay, why is it the newbies have to show the growth here of, it's not that deep. It is not that deep. It really isn't. It really isn't. Well, between Karen and Drita, absolutely. Between everyone else, not really. That's why they can actually get along. And so that's essentially how they wrapped up the whole Marissa and Brittany thing. Because it was like, you know what? We'll agree to disagree. If we came together on different terms originally, things will have been different. Aside from that, you have Marissa's just like, I would love to work with you ladies again in the future, even though the show's over. I'm not really sure when that's going to happen. Maybe some gigs. But it was like, look, like, bygones be bygones. Brittany was real. She was like, I have a temper. So what happened between us shouldn't have happened, because I will get very aggressive and overreact. That's just my reality. Marissa was just like, look. And by the way, I know you guys say I got that, crap face, whatever it is. And it was like, look, if I have that, then Drita has it times 10, because she's angry a lot more than I am. And I'm glad that they took it in jest. I'm glad that the new girls coming in really broke up the monotony of the tension. That's how it should have been, where you fight, you argue, then you make up. And aside from that, I thought the camera stopped. So it just ended with them wrapping up saying that they love Ange and they miss her and they wish that she was great and she was in great spirits and she was just positive. And, you know, we started this thing off because we wanted to make money and have opportunities for our family, and that's not how it ended up being. But we should just agree that we'll do everything we can to be there for Big Ange. That's the pact. So with Big Ange being gone, let's see what happens now, because I'm sure we'll still hear about these ladies. That was it. So thank you for being on this journey with me. I only started YouTubing this past December, so I missed out on all the other seasons of Mob Wives as far as doing reviews, but I'm glad that I decided to do the full review for season 6 because it was worth it. It was a tumultuous ride for this series, but I'm gonna miss seeing the ladies. I hope that they come back in a new show, but in a different light, in a different forum. Yeah, so that was it. And again, big ups, my condolences to Big Ange and her family, and rest in peace to Big Ange. Yeah, guys, it's over. I do a lot of other reviews, by the way, if this is your first time watching me. So subscribe and just look through all of the different playlists that I have, because that's how I have it categorized by shows and topics, popular topics, tech stuff, you name it, I probably review it. So, yeah. The Big Bang.